Oh, hey there. Wasn't expecting you for a while. The new season of the EverQuest Show doesn't start for a few more weeks. But I guess we could talk about this. Hi everyone, Fading here. The EverQuest Show has now moved into its permanent new studio. Still a lot of work that needs to be done before Season 2 officially begins, but still have plenty of content that I never aired on this show. So before we start a new season of the EverQuest Show, this is the show that never was. Speaking of things that never were, I always thought that there's so much lore to EverQuest that it would make a cool TV series or even a movie, or what about a cartoon? And that almost happened thanks to an artist that loved the game.
Jason Wages. I'm a video editor, a writer. I also do some acting and modeling. My career's been pretty much in video games. I've always liked doing artwork, and EverQuest just gave me a great direction to really focus it. Totally fell in love with it, and I started doing fan art. I always dreamed of EverQuest becoming an animated series, and I was a big fan of Batman the Animated Series. So I thought, I'm going to make a page that looks absolutely realistic. So it looks just like on April 1st, EverQuest is an animated show. Well, I need to put a disclaimer on there that this is a fake site. This isn't real. This is just a parody. I've got Bruce Timm style characters, versions of the gods, versions of NPCs, all sorts of stuff. It's almost like a template. The bodies always have a very specific shape, very simple lines, very easy to color. So for me, it helped. First of all, everyone knows what Batman the Animated Series is. And second of all, it was easier for me to create as a concept for the original parody. I also wrote up a series synopsis like, oh, by season 3, we've got these episodes already out. Watching this on Cartoon Network. And on the first day my site came up, I got 800 emails. I got 10,000 hits almost immediately. Oh my God, I'm checking out Cartoon Network's schedule. I don't see it. When is it airing? How can I get the DVDs for this? Where can I? And so many people were just enthralled by it. So many people just went crazy for it, begging me, why can't I find this on Cartoon Network's lineup? That I was thinking, there might be something to this. You know, this might not be just a one-shot, flash-in-the-pan kind of gag. The only complaint I got from SOE was, hey, you're using the actual EverQuest logo. Could you change it so that it's a different logo? So I just made a similar-looking logo, but it looked kind of close, but it was obviously not the same one. But that's all they asked me to do.
We'll get back to the story behind EverQuest The Animated Adventures in just a moment, but that logo that Jason mentioned, that is iconic. And it just so happens that the EverQuest Show talked to the artist that created it.
Kevin Lydy. Technically, I guess it's senior artist, but I function as art director on EverQuest. I'm the creator of the original logo, that's correct.
Did you have an idea for when you created it, a direction that you were going to go? Like, were you given direction of it needs to look like this? Obviously, it's got to fit on box art a certain way.
The direction was pretty open. It was, if I remember, something along the lines of, it needs to be epic, but not a cliche. The actual font itself, the face itself, is based off these old rub-off letters, which you used to use, you know, before computers. You did everything with those. You know, it was that or it was a typesetter. I must have done 1,000 iterations of it, different materials, you know, different lighting, different, you name it.
That were rejected?
Well, it was essentially, here's your menu, pick one, you know, and so that's the one that got picked.
I mean, that's pretty impressive that the thing that I think most people equate with the game is that logo.
Mm-hmm. Really, the thing I remember most about it was when I was working on it, it was raining. And, you know, it doesn't rain a whole lot here. So that was kind of a big deal. But I see, you know, the logos everywhere here, and there's, you know, the concatenation of the logo, which appears in game. And I load the game 1,000 times every day, and I see that. And every time I think about it raining, every time I see that, it's just the strangest connection.
Did you have any idea at that point that it was going to become this 20-year institution?
Honest to God, I didn't think they'd ever get it out the door. You know, it was so ambitious. and so unlike anything anybody had ever done before, succeeded at even trying to do, that it was kind of hard to imagine that it would, ever get out the door, let alone succeed. And it was probably, I don't know, 5 years before I wound up actually sitting in a chair working on EverQuest.
It's hard to imagine EverQuest without that iconic typeface and logo. It'd be even cooler if it were attached to something like an EverQuest cartoon, as Jason Wages tried to create as an April Fool's joke, but it almost happened.
Obviously, this caught a lot of people's eye. A lot of people want this to happen. And so I decided I'm going to flesh this out and see if I can get this really made. I made a serious 5-season synopsis that covered the first 5 incarnations of EQ, the original game, Ruins of Kunark, Scars of Elias, Shadows of Luckland, and the Plains of Power. I just made it look as professional as I could. I have writing experience. I wrote a 2-part pilot episode, a screenplay. You have to really kind of show them that you've put thought and effort into it and how the production as a television program is going to be working. I was able to get in touch with VP of marketing. So she had some connections with Sony Pictures Animation. She said, oh, well, we've got green light for this. I was like, we got a green light? It's going to happen? And she said, yeah, now there might be some changes and such. And that's the only downside. Her contact at Sony Pictures left Sony Pictures. And all of a sudden, the green light becomes a shelving. During that hunt, Avi Arad, who's a producer with Marvel, he does a bunch of other stuff, he was shopping around for different MMOs to make a movie. He came to Sony and he said, I'd like to make a movie about EverQuest. Here's what we're going to do, Jason. Your cartoon show, we're going to keep on the shelf, and once the EverQuest movie is made, then we'll be able to look at making this animated series. But unfortunately, nothing happened at that point, and it just, no. Have we seen the EverQuest movie? Unfortunately not.
I want to ask you about one other thing that you did, a full poster of all of the Norrathian gods.
I wanted to make it exactly the same format as the lithographs. I'm going to make a picture of all the gods because the gods are super cool. They're an awesome part of the EQ mythos. Drew them, stuck them all together, colored them together, and I still was thrilled that people loved it. There was an expansion that came out from EQ. I can't remember what it was, but it was this one where Norrath had been destroyed, Vishan was floating in space, it had Zabuxer.
Seeds of Destruction.
That's kind of something that happens in season 5 that I wrote down. That's actually season 4 and season 5 kind of revolve around that.
The dragon in the background in space kind of looks like your depiction of Vishan.
I was thinking if EverQuest didn't make it as a TV show, I could write it as a novel series. I have so much love for the EverQuest mythos, for the world of Norrath.
That love for EQ comes through when you see just how much work he did to try to get EverQuest made into a cartoon. And if you want to see all of those very cool characters and see that parody side about EQ, the animated adventures, it's all posted on EverQuestShow.com, and I'll provide the link in the description of this video. I especially recommend you read the full 2-episode pilot. It's a really good story. Jason's a great writer, and it makes me sincerely wish we had an EverQuest series. Maybe one day we will. You're also going to get a chance to see that very cool artwork that Jason did about the gods of Norrath. Most of you know that the gods of EverQuest are just anagrams of what they represent, but how do you say their names?
So how do you say that?
All of these names are just imaginary.
I learned most of it when they tell me how to say it.
Whatever you thought in your brain.
I have no idea. I honestly don't know that one. At least that's how I say it.
So we'll start maybe with the Z's and go upward.
Zabuxaruk.
Zabuxaruk.
Zaboxaruk.
Zabuxaruk.
Zabuxaruk.
Yeah.
Zeeb.
Zabuxaruk.
Is that dead, or did he come back to
Ooh,
life?
I don't know.
He had a chain which was impossible to animate,
Just not a god anymore. We've worked with him a little bit.
Just on vacation.
To be determined.
but I did his cast, spun him up around like a helicopter.
When you had to really squeeze it in.
Yeah, I
there,
know.
I'm like,
It's like, how do I make these letters really thin to get them all on one card?
Zegany.
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 Zegany. Yeah.
That's the one that my guildies tease me because I always make it Zegany.
I've heard X on G. I've heard some bad ones on that one.
Xenergy.
Because of the soft G and oxygen.
Oxygen. What? Oh my god.
That's also GF.
In EQ1, I animated her. They made her 200 feet tall, so when you fight her, you're just looking up at her underwear.
Tunair.
Tunar.
Tunair.
Tunair.
That's my deity. I have to say that one right.
Tunair.
Tunair.
Tunair was Tunari for the ever.
Tunari.
Devs are divided on some of these too.
You get a whole lot of Tunari.
I can't get away from that sort of Latin reference.
They're a council of Wraith. I animated them in EQ1.
Wraith.
Wraith.
Wraith
Council.
I've always gone with Wrath.
Wrath.
I was always a Wrath.
I said Wrath before I got the joke.
Wraith, Wrath, Wrathy.
They were made of wood.
Tree folk.
They died. They just fell. And the architect goes, no, that looks terrible. So I had to make it a little different.
How did you change it?
I think he crumpled up and shriveled up a little bit.
Erolisimar.
Erosimar.
Erosimar.
Erolissimar.
Erosimar.
Erolisimar.
Erolissimar.
My favorite goddess.
I have made so many things for Erolissimar Day.
Gotta love, yeah.
Valentine's kind of stuff.
We had her in EverQuest Animated Adventures as well.
Yeah, Valentine's Day, yeah.
Exy. Easy.
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 Issy.
EC.
EC. I don't know.
If I had to pronounce it, it would be ECI, I guess.
For some reason, a squid's coming into my head.
Do you know what that's an anagram of?
Ice.
Oh, it's ice backwards.
Quellius.
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 Kellius.
Quellius.
Quellios.
Qualios.
Quellinos. Quellios.
Oh, she's that little blonde goddess.
The idea of there being a goddess that was a child.
I didn't have anything to do with it. Drenal, I did an EQ2.
Drenal.
Drenal.
Journal.
Journal.
Brennel.
I say Drenal.
He's cool. He's looks with a dog dude.
He looked amazing.
So cool.
Fantastic
One of the
look.
coolest gods. Jackal god.
There was a good version and a bad version.
Drynal, I hear a lot as well.
Heard that one.
Drynal.
Never heard that one.
They're wrong.
Nathan McCall.
I love the fact that we got to show him in game.
He really pushed for Drenal to get put into EverQuest 2.
Rhino, I made you out of clay.
Our engine didn't like that.
His own was
Elevators are
awesome.
great.
Yeah, we had problems.
Ask Carlos about people hated the elevators. But
Okay, wait, hold on.
Do more boss fights on
Yeah, oh
elevators.
god. It was crashing the whole zone and everybody who was connected to that zone.
The next season of the EverQuest Show, it's right around the corner, but I'm always looking for new ideas, new player stories to tell, or content creators, streamers that would like to partner or contribute to the show. Be sure to subscribe to the EverQuest Show channel, that way you'll know when new videos are posted. And if you enjoyed this episode, like and also share, that way you help to support this channel. And I can't wait for the next season of the EverQuest Show. I have so much to tell you about the EverQuest franchise, about the past, the present, and yes, the future of EverQuest. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
We gotta be the best we can be. And though sometimes we don't want to, still we gotta chase our dreams, reach up and reach high, because we're gonna pull through and give it all we got, even though it can seem hard to catch and make it happen. But we can't start sliding, come on, and do what you gotta do to fight on. And so no matter what comes your way, nothing can ruin your day or even wipe your smile away. And by the time I'm up and out of my bed, I got 100 new ideas floating around in my head, with the hope for tomorrow, a dream that I can see of all the awesome things, the great people we can be. Or maybe by the music or the songs that I sing, I'll change the world with the simple message that I will bring. All I know is that it's out there, there's more to this